president's campaign chairman and deputy campaign chairman and national security advisor have all pled guilty to felonies, and they're all either in jail or awaiting sentencing for felony convictions. The president's lawyer is going to prison. The president's business is in the crosshairs on at least one of the felonies for which his lawyer is now going to prison. His adult children are potentially on the hook for that specifically and directly. His inaugural committee is now under federal criminal investigation. And this is all separate and apart from the special counsel's investigation, which continues to aggressively investigate whether he and his campaign conspired with Russia.
Dum 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 dum. Well, dearies, welcome back to Louisiana and the Easy Reefers channel. Where a broke fish tank guy tries to save the world. Despite, let's just say some slight odds against success here. Definitely an uphill battle. But you know me and my uphill battles. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever the heck you are. And welcome back to Fake TV. I am your host, of course. Fake TV's one and only the lost begotten Sean Morris. And I like this little advertisement thing they sat me. I still haven't moved it out to my car yet. I'm thinking I'm going to do that tomorrow. That way everybody can know my name is Sean. And I'm proud of the little advertisement thing. And occasionally I'll see somebody that just laughs and says, "Hey, I got one of those in the mail too." But I don't know. I haven't quite decided whether or not I want to be that cheesy on a regular basis. Like, you know, I like to distribute my cheesiness in spurts. Which, you know, I suppose works better with like Cheese Whiz. You know, it's like, never mind. Anyways. So today we get more details on the Maria Butina plea arrangement, in which it seems like she's basically saying she's willing to tell all. She's willing to point out this person and that person and the other person. And even her little boyfriend apparently is in trouble. And that's nice and all. But I hope our investigators are aware of what they're up against. Because for the past couple of years, it simply has not seemed like most people have a clue as to the basics of what the fuck they're up against. Now, in Russia, we have a saying, or they have a saying. Reverting to in Russia, we have much vodka. The joke that I used to tell. There's a Mexican, a Russian, and a Texan sitting around a campfire. Oh, never mind. Okay, anyways. Great fucking joke. Obnoxious, but a great fucking joke. Well, there's this multiple use expression that was referred to in the Stargate SG-1 series by Dr. Daniel Jackson, as he was sent to Moscow to find out whether, what was it, Kislev was in fact a Goa'uld? Or was it Kislev's boss? Kislev was the guy that was at the base, right? I don't know. Anyways. So the Russians were sitting there being told by the Goa'uld that the Americans were compromised, and or something like that. And about to start World War III and shit, and Dr. Jackson goes to Moscow to try to explain / figure things out. And turns out the big general in charge of the Russian military hasn't been wearing his glasses lately, and the Russian president realizes this, and he's like, oh shit, he is a Goa'uld. And then everybody stands down, you know, from DEFCON 4 or whatever. But there's this, you know, insanely beautiful Russian girl that's Dr. Jackson's handler. And she's, oh, it's great. They introduce themselves. She's like, do you speak Russian? And Dr. Janet, you know, he thinks he's all hot shit and tries to, oh, yeah, I speak a little bit of Russian, but like speaking in Russian. And she's like, yeah, I think it's best we just stick to English. And he thought he was being all impressive, and yeah, turns out she wasn't impressed. But, you know, that's a Russian girl for you. Anyways. So she's restraining him / being convinced by him because he's the good guy, right? But she's convinced that it's, you know, the Americans that are up to no good. And as the plans unravel, every segment, you know, just unraveling and unraveling and unraveling, just wider and wider. It's like a cord you keep pulling. See, that's, to me, the God of War trying to mimic God's plans and his plans. And, you know, doing a pretty damn effective job. But when it all comes down to it, it is an arrangement of mimicry. And that's one of his names, is Mimic. And that's what they do. They mimic. Yes, I'm still in the old guy's rule shirt that I just put on because, oh, I got some sleep. Do I look refreshed? I've had my beauty rest. So, not to get on too much of a philosophical tangent here, but I did want to give some background information as to exactly why I am, or was, or remain, have proven to be, all those things, uniquely suited to unraveling the cord. Because my cord winds a little longer. I mean, shit. I wasn't trying to make a dick joke. It just came out. It just dropped, or wait, no, it just fell out. It just Yeah. Just sprung forth. No. No. I didn't mean to make a jig joke. Or a dick joke. It just happened on its own. You know, like boners. What? I didn't mean to make a dick joke. It just came out of my mouth. No. There's no real way to finish that sentence, is there? No, there isn't. I'm just gonna move on. So, anyways, like I said, my cord winds longer. than he could possibly imagine. Okay, I'm gonna try to be mature about this. Yeah. But suffice to say, when dealing with me, what I have proven is a unique trait of mine, is that I am connected to this plan. And as their plans mimic mine, it continues to unravel, and the center remains. And the more they unravel my plan and think that they're winning, winning, the more they see themselves just going in circles until before they realize it, they themselves, through pursuit of the mystery, wind up pulled to the center. You see, look at it this way. They've got a pretty consistent MO. You notice I have the things that we know about, and I've tried to make this sort of an animated presentation through use of Neanderthal cartoon stuff. You know, look at the technology we got here. Fancy graphic studio of science and shit. Folded paper. High tech. Anyways. So, whereas my plans tend to reveal that the side I'm on has its roots back to the beginning of time, and that the very truth I reveal reveals the truth of all things. So there's essentially no stopping. No matter what you do, every thought you've ever had was foreseen from the beginning. And in their attempts to deceive others, in their plan to try to usurp the will of God, they are left little choice but to mimic him as best they can. They try to predict the future. That's exactly what they do. They try to... They basically have brainstorming sessions in which they extrapolate possibilities. And what winds up being discussed as a series of forks and intersections. Choices, possibilities, different things that can happen, leading up to one likelihood. And here is what they planned for. But here is also what they planned for. Here's also what they planned for. Here's also what they planned for. They know every little thing that can be traced back, and every decision that can be made, everything that can be seen, everything that can be found out, what the reactions will be. And they plan for each one of those things in reverse from the beginning. And when you find this, at first, it's always presented as something harmless. And it's usually a little old lady. You know? Like a Russian lawyer. Little old lady. Wanted to talk about Russian adoption. Now, what people didn't know is that the new Russian adoption policy was basically imposed as petty vengeance for Obama's interference with the Ukraine affair. Oh yeah, they were invading Ukraine, and that was one of their ways to try to sanction us. Was to attack children. This is how these fucking people think. Dingo! Dingo! Not now, dude. Come on, man. Silly old dog. What? Let the cuteness begin. You gonna lay with him or what? Lady. How can your eyes not be complete slits right now? How can they still be that round? Me kitty. Dingo. Thought your friend was gonna go snuggle with you. Oh well. Alright, so back to the Russian adoption thing. So, you got your little old lady, you know? Well dressed, well made up, very attractive, very endearing eyes. Somebody that could, you know, get on the news later. And lie straight face to the camera. Look right in that little American reporter's eyes and tell him exactly what she was programmed to say. And that's your Russian lawyer at Trump Tower. Talked about Russian adoption. That's the face of things. You see, we had sanctioned them. In response, they said that rich Americans couldn't adopt poor Russian children anymore, basically. Like, what the fuck do those kids have anything to do with it? Like, what an odd response, you know? They had just while this plan was underway, basically, after Trump had already started meeting with him about fucking Trump Tower in Moscow and the election and you know, the Felix Sater shit. That's around the time when the Russians did this adoption policy to begin with as a response to U.S. sanctions. See, this is part of a consistent plan that they always deploy. This is step one. Okay? This isn't some random thing. This is sympathetic. Step one. Simpatico. This comes in every different plan that they ever deploy. The first thing you hear about is something sympathetic, whether it's propaganda that you haven't even heard. That's why there's so much propaganda probably in your mind, even in my mind right now, that we've absorbed, is because of the sympathetic nature of the surface story. Okay? Now, what was the next one? Oh, it's not. Okay. The adoption was a cover story, but it was only a cover story for emails. Hillary Clinton's emails. And, you know, you got to be pretty nuanced to realize that Donald Trump had been briefed about the hack of the DNC server. But, you know, supposedly they turned the emails down, and then, you know, WikiLeaks just happened to do it. So, you know, there's all that trying to trace down WikiLeaks and the connection between Assange and Roger Stone and, yeah, emails. What's step two? That's equative. See, you get caught with the adoption, the sympathetic thing. And then it's, oh, but Hillary. They get caught in the UN trying to fucking invade a country, and it's, oh, well, you invaded Iraq. First it was, we have Russian speakers. Then it was, well, you're no better than us. So step one is always sympathetic. Step two is always equative. How's it going, Mr. Conway? And what do they go to next? Sanctions. They were talking about the easing of sanctions. But the quid pro quo never happened, of course. And while it paints a more sinister picture, other than, you know, like Mike Flynn's violation of the Hatch Act and then lying to the FBI, an incoming administration can argue, debatably, that they have a right to discuss the future foreign policy involved, you know. when their story was supposedly that they didn't think they were going to win. I don't know why they would be putting the cart ahead of the horse. And, you know, it's very odd that, especially during the time of a possibly covert hot war between the United States and Russia happening in Ukraine and Syria, okay, worse than the Cold War. It's already been called that by experts galore, okay? This is a more dangerous situation than the Cold War that we're in right now. And now, anomalously, the candidate for president had more contacts with Russians, had every fucking member of his campaign had contacts with Russians, had the damn fucking Russian lobbyist, lawyer, American mobster person as his campaign manager. Okay? The guy that basically did pro-Russia bidding in Ukraine. He used coercive tactics and basically Republican. I mean, what's fucked up about what Paul Manafort is, okay, is he represents the previously existing depravity of the Republican Party. Before Russia ever got fucking involved with them in the very fluid way that has developed in the past 10 years under Obama, they had already been basically suppressing black and Latino people for years and going around and making sure they paid white people and incentivized them to vote and shit like that, and went around and basically the entire point of black Republicans, okay, the reason why they're so interested in paying black people to become Republicans, basically, isn't to try to win over more black people. It's to have black people at the polling stations so people will go in there and assume that there's Democrats there. And then that black person who doesn't believe in the system anyway gets paid just to look the other way while the Republicans make some votes disappear. Okay? That's what Paul Manafort went to Ukraine to help Yanukovych do. He went there to help him rig elections. And I'm sure he learned a lot while he was there, but Paul Manafort was already a fucking expert in bullshit. Okay? But the fact that he was willing to go against the EU's interest, against America's interest, and then became this person's campaign manager, means that this person was willing to go against America's and the EU's interest. And I don't mean just like the EU as a fucking corrupt entity, because I'm aware that it's corrupt as shit, okay? I'm just talking about Europe as a stronghold, as the West, okay? Paul Manafort was acting against the West's interests. He was acting on the behalf of the enemy of the West. Everything that makes the EU fucked up is because of the people that he aligned himself with. And it's not the Illuminati and the Bilderbergers and the Freemasons and shit. Okay? It's a child's tale. Contracts after 9/11, eh? I tell you what, Conway, I'm going to start making you, letting you make videos, not making you let videos. I don't know how that would work. Sounds like some sort of flatulence to me, but anyways, I'm gonna let you, once I get to the manager and I figure out how to fucking do that again, you'll be able to upload on here. That'll be cool. If you feel like it. You can see how long you can get a device to last while it does screen sharing shit. I tell you what, the only thing that had to happen other than my bad feeling about Screencast-O-Matic was all the different people trying to recommend me to use Screencast-O-Matic. I'm like, okay, that's obviously a direct portal for the Russians to get in your computer. That's weird. Clean up contracts after 9/11. So anyways, back to sanctions. Okay, so we had the sympathetic layer. Okay, then you open up that doll, and inside, what do you got? Oh, it's an email, so it's pointing the other finger. You know, it's equative. So you do the same shit. There's who are you to tell us? Because it's all about how corrupt this person was, and we just wanted other good people in other countries. There's nothing wrong with Russians, and it's about this evil Hillary Clinton person. It's equative, right? And we can invade Ukraine because the United States invaded Iraq. You could invade Georgia because the United States they get to invade a whole lot of countries because we invaded Iraq, apparently. And then, of course, there's the sanctions. It's about easing Russian sanctions. It's about playing the victim. Step 3. Sympathetic. Oh, we had perfectly good reasons. Everybody should agree. Oh, but Hillary. Oh, but Iraq. Oh, but Wernher von Braun. Oh, but Roswell. Oh, but the Native Americans. Oh, but the blacks. Oh, but the Crusades. And then, it's not fair. Russia just wants an equal voice at the table. Russia just wants an equal chance. Russia just wants to be respected. Russia's just tired of America telling them what they can do. Those were just Russian speakers there, right? Those poor Russian speakers that we sent there so we could invade later. Step 3. We're the victims. All about the sanctions. Yeah, because after all, what an incoming president should be able to talk about sanctions. But we thought it was about emails. I mean, but we thought it was about adoption. So you just want to be, equal to America. But we thought it was about Russian speakers. Oh no, we thought it was about a fascist takeover of Kiev. Yeah, the Nazis in Kiev, that's right. The Nazis in Kiev. Shooting those innocent Berkut officers. So then, we're at the stage of the investigation that's been revealed just recently. Synergy. Oh, we're going to see more about Synergy because, well, Conway, you and I both know what Synergy looked like. We felt the brunt of the fucking Synergy here on this channel. In fact, Synergy stopped by yesterday, didn't he? And here's where the excuses for Trump is going to fall short. Because what Synergy equates to is an attack on the American people. Not just an attack on our democracy. Coordinated psychological warfare. Meant to basically not just rally their own base, not just attack their opposition, but get as many different sides dug into different corners as possible. Very subtle, very broad sweeping psychological warfare. But it's because the American system has become corrupt and Russia's here to liberate you. Oh yeah. Step 4. It's because we're really your friends. We're really the friends of the people. The corporations are the problem. The rich people are the problem. The black people are the problem. The Muslims are the problem. The white people are the problem. The Jews are the problem. And we're your friends. They offer the Trump campaign Synergy. Because they presented themselves as ideologically aligned. Now Trump and the people at the top, they fucking knew better. Because what it's been all about to them is Synergy on a different level. They really are friends, okay? But on the propaganda basis, like Maria Butina at the NRA. We're just here to help you with your gun rights, you know? You know, we just want an equal shot too because it's all Hillary Clinton and those people's fault. And we were just here because of the poor children anyways, right? So, sympathy, equation, unfairness, and then friendship. The sympathetic story, the equative story, the victimization story, and then the friendship story. So what's happening right now? What comes next? Well, you see, this is actually all in the past tense. This all already happened 2 years ago. And some people, like me, were actually onto them. Now that, we don't pay attention to that. The emails, oh, we were all over that shit. Sanctions, we were all over that. Synergy, we were all over that. And what was their response? Because we caught on to all this shit. They said you need to elect Trump to stop World War III from happening. So even back to the old days of the communists at the UN, it would go in this order, the way they would argue. And it would all boil down to mutually assured destruction. Now we've gone past that. And in fact, in many ways, we've repeated this cycle many times. But there are 9 layers to this plan. You want to see how far along we are? You see, if they can't get you on their side with this, and they can't get you on their side with that, and they can't win the argument with that, and they can't finally get you to back down with that, and they can't get you to just submit and say, okay, whatever you want, Russia. Then comes the weakening of communications. Now, this has been done by consolidation of social media and through the infiltration or probably the establishment itself of Google. Okay? Now, let me just make that case with flawless logic. The entire reason the general public sees it excusable that Google has become such a monopoly is because a feeling of trust that exists that because Google is so powerful, it is protecting America and democracy's best interest. People actually think, especially considering how the Republicans are complaining about them right now, that Google actually has their best interests at heart. Flawlessly done. However, because Google is so powerful, they should have had no problem protecting us. And they failed to, which means they intentionally failed to, which means that Google is essentially a plan to weaken our communications. And they've done a hell of a job. Now, number 6. This is when simple encounters evolve into active measures. Okay, these are preludes to active measures. This is where the active measures begin. And this is how the active measures unfold. All of them count as active measures for sure, but this is really the active measures part. First is the weakening of communications. Number 6, compromise leadership. Okay, Maria Butina at the NRA, compromisation of leadership. The Russians and the KKK offering help when a black president took over. It's a compromisation of leadership. Then, number 7, cause a revolt. Weaken communications, compromise leadership, cause a revolt. Black Lives Matter, Antifa, monument protests. And of course, Trumpistan. Okay. Because it's pitchfork and torches time if they don't defeat Hillary. Right? Then when you've sown enough chaos after weakening communications, compromising leadership, then you decapitate. Then you install your puppet dictator. And the puppet dictator can serve a lot of different reasons. If the populace is subdued, then the puppet dictator is where it ends. You have already completed step number 9. But if the populace is not subdued, only one step remains. Now, it was just a message when the Russians began deploying obsolete but still very effective long-range heavy bombers to Argentina and I think it was Honduras, some other little Central American country. And they've been patrolling that whole area, you know, where we used to kind of be in charge of the Panama Canal. Yeah, the Russians are there now. Air, land, and sea. Well, on those air bases where they've been having those bear bombers patrolling from, they have now moved some modern I think supersonic or borderline supersonic bombers. But barely subsonic, if subsonic. The one that looks like our B-1, the swept wing. One of those can fucking hit me from here. From there. I'm in their range right now. $500 years ago, I didn't have a spell for that shit. I don't have a spell now. Okay. Alakabomb? No, there's no. We don't have European style air defense here. You don't often see fighter aircraft patrolling. You don't often see fighter aircraft, period, where I live. I used to live much closer to the Navy base over in New Orleans, and you still didn't see fighter craft that often. We are not set up as a country that's prepared to defend itself from invasion. We are a country that's set up to fight offensively. And, well, am I missing something, or did stage 1 through 8 already get done? Is there another stage I'm forgetting? I mean, I'm not a fearmonger. I'm not sitting there like trying to use this to get ratings or whatever. You know, this isn't Alex Jones saying Obama's gonna fucking stay in office forever. You know, this is some shit that's been coming to a fucking point for a long time. And I never claimed they were in a hurry. I've just been saying this is what they're doing and this is why people do this. But people forgot how that nested doll things work. Every time you open something up, there's something else inside. See? Let me just review rhetorically. The way this opens up continued to follow this order. The way we unraveled things continued to follow this order. After Trump took office, after those whole World War III threats and everything, the internet fuckery was on, man. I mean, basically, when that World War III threatening came about was about the time that my live stream got disabled. And then you had this campaign of Google turning towards the left just so the Republicans could say. Basically, what the Republicans are doing by wagging the finger at Google in those little pre-planned diatribes they went on, they're making Google look like the good guy. I don't think they know it, but that's why Google was smiling. That's why he was smiling every time they were sitting there wagging the finger at him. Okay. That's number 5. We got onto the threats. We started to see Trump as a threat. And that's what was happening. We started to see that it was a bigger picture, that it wasn't just Trump and his family, and we caught on to this Maria Butina thing. And that was immediately after the election, when Obama was sitting there kicking people out and all this different stuff. And the more Obama fought back, even before the election, the more, you know, monument protest and Black Lives Matter and shit came out. And then when we really started to get on the investigation in the news, then came Antifa marching up to pose for Fox News, trying to equate what we were talking about as far as protecting our country from a fucking traitor to some far leftist agenda. So instead of Fox News talking about what we were actually talking about on the Rachel Maddow show and stuff, they were showing Antifa. These are the people who don't like Trump. That's number 7. Everything hinges on how number 8 goes. We either let Trump win or we fight. Decisions. Now, you see, there's only one way to actually solve the puzzle. You can just keep on opening up the dolls until your fucking fingers fall off. You know, from frostbite, because it's Russia. Instead of unwinding the cord, just grab the center. Yep. The secret to the little old lady is finding her son for her. Then the little old lady admits, yeah, it wasn't about adoption. And all the layers are confessed, made plain to see. When it all comes down to it, I'm the reason they're attacking to begin with. When it all comes down to it, I'm the reason the Republicans are compromised. I'm the reason why they don't give a fuck about the environment. They're just waiting on me to tell them to. When it all comes down to it, I'm the reasons why the Muslims conquer everything. They're trying to fulfill a prophecy of my return. When it all comes down to it, I'm even the guy that Satanists would prefer to be in charge, because they've been so deluded by the devil that they think he's God. So they rebel against a straw man argument. But not one of them can ever sit there and read a quote of Jesus and fail to wish that Christians didn't act more like that. And if a Satanist heard the real story, they'd realize that their rebellion was used to deceive them. They rebelled against a world that was full of shit and shouldn't be blamed for that. And now, I'm not talking about the real evil fuckers. I'm talking about the heavy metal guys, you know? But people who have been compromised because of straw man arguments against Christianity that isn't even Christianity, I'm their guy too. You know? And it's not just that basically overtly what people are waiting for is me. It's that all the wounds that have come from this division, that have come from this separation of ideas into fundamentalist dogmas, all the pain that it's caused. It seems like I'm the only person who knows the fucking one story that can heal all of those wounds. Most of the people on this planet right now who think they are enemies are merely mistaken. See, what I offer humanity is the chance to unite against a common enemy in a chain reaction that will eventually reveal that there is no enemy. When it all comes down to it, if the god of war exists, there's nothing that he craves by now more than defeat. So consider this. Sociologically, scientifically, analytically. When the Great Khan, when the nomadic leader of the North, whoever the fuck he is, whatever the fuck he is, comes to be surrounded, when all have been freed from his grasp, what is it that you think he will have to complain of? His dominance, built on disdain for weakness, is no longer necessary. Humanity will have proven itself even to him. And then, let him make his argument to me, if he can. Did I mention I planned this all out already? Before time began and stuff? Little things, little things. Buenas mañanas. Yeah, I'm apparently on Australia time or something. It was mildly fladacious out there today. Nice long, steady rain will pull up the whole driveway. So I had to go get my kids and then the neighbor's kids, which is probably about 2 hours worth of waiting on the bus total. Because they get off at all different fucking times. Anyways. So I couldn't sleep earlier in the day. I was live streaming for one. But I didn't bother stopping the live stream because I knew if I fell asleep, I wasn't going to wake up in time to go get them. And they were going to have to fucking wade through the damn water to get back here. Then it finally went, the neighbor's last kid gets off the bus after fucking 4 o'clock sometime. Trying to drag my ass upstairs. Fucking lift my cell phone in my pants. I know I'm tired when I don't put my cell phone up where it goes before I go to bed. Woke up, couldn't find my damn cell phone for nothing. Just, where the fuck is it? Got out of my routine, was just, what's going on? I'm confused. But anyways. So the nested doll thing, man. It definitely needs to be applied in the interrogation room, in these plea deals. Michael Cohen, okay? I hope I hope against hope that they're not actually taking this motherfucker seriously. Now, see, if they used my material in the interrogations of Maria Butina, then her flip might actually be genuine. Okay? But Cohen, man. Yeah, that about sums it up. He's a con. He's a con. Basically, non-Khazarian, actual tribe of Judah, a con. If he does have a little Khazarian DNA in him, I can't see it because I can't tell how tall he is. But I could see a little bit of Chechen, a little bit of Khazarian, possibly. But he looks like what people think Chuck Schumer's look means. Does that make sense? Like, people think, Chuck Schumer, okay, is like the quintessential Jewish looking person. But that's not entirely the case. I don't think that line, that look, is particularly the House of Judah. Michael Cohen, on the other hand, there were two other houses in Eastern Europe that came there later. And one are the ones who is family with Chuck Schumer and became like the Polish people. And the other, they have like smaller heads and like a different shaped nose that gives them sort of like a bird-like look, but it's kind of like a cute bird look. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like, you think they would lead you to a bowl of Fruit Loops, maybe? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The leader of the World Bank looked like one of that family. It's the nose that goes out more this way. But they're not. Like the Khazarian nose kind of does a similar thing, but their heads are taller and it's got an entirely different look to it. And that comes from the union of Baal and Asherah. Khazarians would be easily confused with Old High Germans. Like, okay. You ever watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch? The older aunt, Old High German. Roger Stone's Larry Bird-like features? That's Khazarian. Roger Stone's slanted back features that look a little bit more like cone. That's House of Judah. And that the way that they look like different people comes from their captivity. The ones that remained, basically. Like, nope, we don't want to go back to the Holy Land. We kind of like it here. Hookers and blow, hookers and blow. But anyways, what it all comes down to, the reason why I point out the different movements of these families is because they need to see that we're all families. And that the further back you go in time, you simply have people being set against each other. Bribed by foreign lands, corrupted by foreign kings. Almost always as a prelude to invasion. And if you keep chasing that to its end, what you find is that all the tribes of mankind are basically victims. And just like there's no one today who, you know, like, nobody I know ever owned a black slave, right? That's in the past. Well, even more in the past is how long ago the Horde actually started. So what you're looking at is a path of one group of people re-identifying themselves and forgiving each other until there's nobody left. Because when it all comes down to it, warfare is not a natural human state. That's a lie. It's not the key to technological progress. It's completely fucking useless. You know, the best thing that can come from war is a massive increase in susceptibility to disease and deformity. That's what the survivors get to look forward to. And you wonder why humans are in such a sorry state these days. You want to speculate as to why we used to actually live a lot longer and have a lot less problems with disease. You wonder why maybe humans used to be able to communicate telepathically. What could have possibly happened to our DNA? War happened. War after war after war after war. Consolidation of genetic diversity, not just among humans, but among herd creatures. And our molecular diversity is the primary thing that enhances our immune systems. And without diverse life around us, both to consume and to exchange basically scents and chemicals with through the air, our ability to resist disease is reduced. Not to mention the fact that just because there's less people, there's more genetic mutations. More people get born with strange abnormalities. That's because of war. Go ahead and blame it on God if you want to, but that's because of war. The human genome was set up to be, from the beginning, to be quite successful if allowed to proliferate naturally. But when you have dispersion and separation, followed by near extinction level events, you don't have, say, what, in Star Trek you would want to colonize a new planet with, you know? You need a wide, diverse gene pool so that people don't wind up fucking their second cousins 3 generations later, you know what I'm saying? But because of war, you don't wind up with the population of the Earth as a number. You wind up with pockets of populations that have to stay hidden, have to stay secluded. Sometimes they're forced to stay secluded. And then there's a gene pool going downhill, there's a gene pool going downhill. Even the aggressor, especially the propagandized aggressor, will suffer the same fate. But of course, the Horde has a way around that. They just kidnap other people's fucking children. And we're charging. Okay. This is just a thing, isn't it? It's just my new little shark fin. Oh, fuck it, why not? Oh yeah, that's much better. Get the fucking clippers out and go. Meow. So, you're not alone, Carlos. You're going through a time in your life. I've been through that time. It's hard, man. But there's got to be someone at a church somewhere who's going to listen to you like they've been waiting to talk to you. And I think you know what kind of news you have for them. You see, often those tests of patience and loneliness are just what they are. And it's a matter of enduring and remaining faithful and waiting on the Lord, as they say. But sometimes it's a matter of courage. Sometimes you sit there praying on a miracle. God's praying right back. God, why won't you do this for me? Good question. I've been there too. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. You know what's great? I actually used to have the t-shirt. was like fucking 14 years old, cutting grass, fucking making money, I had the two very best t-shirts. One was, it actually said, "Been there, done that." And the other was a big gray cube, like a big concrete block, and little feet sticking out of the bottom with blood. And it said, "New kids under the block." Those were my two favorite shirts in middle school. Didn't take long for them to tell me not to wear the New Kids Under the Block one. They didn't like that at school. So the next day, I think I wore my Rude Dog shirt. All right, the Bart Simpson one says, "I'm obnoxious," or something like that. No. What I'm telling you is that praying like that is wrong. When you wind up praying like that, you're usually trying to compensate for something that is falling short in yourself. And that's where it comes in. It's usually a test of patience, or what it should be is a way to find the strength to do what needs to be done, to pull yourself out of that situation. Sometimes it can just be a matter of taking things for granted at some point in your life and then being forced to realize how much there is to be thankful for, by living a life of destitution or isolation. But that's, kind of extreme. But as far as a situation in which, I find myself in right now, okay? Yours is obviously a lot worse because Europe is getting a lot worse, and, it can be said that what's making America so bad is it's becoming more like Europe now. But it's all the result of the same plan. Europe was just a stage ahead of us. And in this situation, you don't know who you can go outside and talk to, and who's been propagandized and who's sane. You don't know if anybody can actually just fucking see reality anymore. And I've painstakingly worked my way up one person at a time from the moment that I realized that, oh shit, people weren't seeing through this the way I was. People didn't have their guard up the way we did, And you have to take one person at a time and try to understand them from their perspective and make them see what you experienced while they were not paying attention. And don't put it in a way that blames them for not paying attention, because that's going to set them up defensively. But just explain to them, not many people know this, but in 2014, in 2015, blah, blah, blah was happening. They were saying all this stuff, and, all these people that have been saying this stuff also said this stuff all of a sudden. And it's like, oh, well, geez, you've been working for Russia for how long? Because you're sure working for them now. And we need to re-examine, first and foremost, make it clear that you're not on either side. That you think everybody needs to take a step back and realize that they're being pushed against each other. And you know, for you, where you're at, I'm guessing that's going to start with a fucking Catholic priest. And that's why I'm saying it's a test for you. It's a hell of a test. You know, when it all comes down to it, I'm fully fucking human. And, you know, sometimes I get used to it. Sometimes I make broadcasts and I get in the routine of making broadcasts, and then it becomes easier. Like, you know, tonight it's easy. Yesterday it was easy. It's especially when y'all show up and y'all are here to chat with me. It's easy. But there's a lot of times it's really hard. Okay, and there's a lot of times where I'll go through periods of like, what the fuck am I doing? I could be ruining any possible fucking career opportunities that might arise on this fucking gamble that people are gonna like someday wake up to the fucking truth. And whether or not I'm a crazy person, at least appreciate me for trying to fucking tell them, you know? Otherwise, like, trying to tell the truth is going to cost me a lot of future opportunities. And frankly, could have at any point, y'all realize this, could have at any point cost me my life. And that's why it's like, I thank God that I happen to be a crazy guy who thinks he's Jesus. Because if I wasn't a crazy guy who thinks he's Jesus, they probably would have taken me seriously enough to kill my ass by now. So there's a deity pretending to be human, pretending to be a deity, pretending to be a human, pretending to be a deity. Wabbit season. Duck season. Borden, which season is it? Why, Sonny, it's baseball season. I love the classics, man. Boy, what progress since we all got up in arms about Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck beating each other over the head with sledgehammers and stuff. Oh, you know, you can't let your children see that. Now they gotta see like weird little CGI demons and shit. With big cute eyes. That sounds like the desire of witchcraft. I can tell you from personal experience, being unlimited is meaningless. Like what you're asking for when you complain about the human existence is essentially a perpetual state of boredom. To feel is to appreciate. To know loneliness is to know love. To know sadness is to know happiness. You can't have one without the other. Well, I mean, you can. It just wouldn't mean anything. Let me put it this way. I'm here. This is where I prefer to be. Yeah, well, I'm telling you. You can't start a wave, but you can land a drop wherever you have faith enough to simply speak. And you got to understand that something you say to someone might not resonate immediately. And when it comes to prayer, the power of the human consciousness is to open up possibilities for other humans, to lend them the possibilities that demons are taking from them by stealing their consciousness, by stealing their thoughts and memories, by blinding them to reality. They steal possibilities from them. So in prayer, you open up and your desire for someone else opens up that possibility that they might see something on the news in their real life, something that one of their friends or loved ones tells them that makes them think about what God told you to tell them. And that's the key. You got to just distinguish your feelings from what God wants people to know. And you pray that maybe even if it takes 5 years, and I've seen it happen, that what you said to them is going to help them change, is going to help the universe fight back. But Carlos, you're in Spain, right? That makes you the closest one to Rome. You've been given keys. Don't you see how many doors they can unlock? Even if you got to write some of them down, categorize and list. Tell them you've seen where the eagles gather. And I am certainly not in the desert. I'm not in the secret chambers. I'm right where God told me to be, and in no other place. With my family and my pets. Broadcasting for my enemies to trace. Let them come if they want to. But instead, what you see is the fuckery. Nobody could be anyone else but me and have such poor success on YouTube. Inauguration finances are under criminal investigation. Oh, I just want to lick the screen. Delicious. And still, check this out. Check this out, people. You want to talk about the fuckery? Come on. Where's the fucking channel name showing up? All right, look at the top of the screen. Fuck. All right. Let's see if I can get the ad to play. It's obviously a side upload. And there's an ad.
Our innovative technology lets you fry food with ultra-hot air and 98% less oil for healthier results. And no messy cleanup or lingering odors.
There's the ad count. There's a skip ad.
Also bakes, broils, convection bakes and broils, warms and toasts.
And skipping the ad.
So many of them have happened.
And pausing. And we have Russian. 13,000 views from 6 hours ago. Okay? Monetized. Now, Rachel Maddow on MSNBC.
Squeaky, squeaky, squeaky.
No ad played. And they have twice as many views. No ad played, twice as many views, so Google gets less money overall just to give Russia money.
Of developments, because so many of them have happened in such quick succession.
13,000 views in 6 hours. Monetized. Copyrighted material. Let's see how far it goes back. This is looking like gaming, Minecraft. So a year ago, starting with Minecraft, just video game stuff. 30,000 views, 24,000 views. Rachel Maddow from a day ago, 127,000 views. Rachel Maddow.
Was this man, a man named
Copyrighted upload. Random guy playing Minecraft. Again. Mr. Personality over here. Okay. Going to all kinds of different links to be entertaining. Okay. And sometimes coming up with some genuinely priceless shit. Okay. This guy doesn't have his number of subscribers even listed. He gets 127,000 fucking views
Was this man, a man named Steve
for copyrighted
Bannon.
material.
He was named finance chairman of the Republican
How?
Party at the request of President Trump. Since then, of
How
course,
does
he
this
was-
useless fucking channel do so well and I do so horribly? Look at that. Let me try to hold it still. 127,000 views a day ago. Now, this was monetized. This is monetized. This channel fucking gets ads every time you're playing it and you haven't played it for a while. Okay? Now let's go and look at how Rachel Maddow's video from yesterday is doing. How many views it got. Okay? Let's see how much fucking money they're actually stealing here. Oh, they got an ad. Good for you, Rachel.
Are you serious? You know, I was happy.
All right. Yeah. Amazon paying their employees $15 an hour doesn't make me like Amazon. It just makes me think they're fucking even more sinister in their takeover. Oh, yeah. We've got robots doing the jobs of 50 fucking people, so we can spare the one fucking person a decent wage. Look how nice we are. Yeah, go ahead and give your fucking impression and pay MSNBC some money. I'm waiting for the ad to give them their fucking due. You know, do unto others. My wife even knows. My wife even knows that I'm gonna fucking sit through an ad no matter how annoying it is when it comes to MSNBC
years in federal prison
or any
isn't the news that's
good
most
channel.
legally worrying for the president that day.
123,000 views on the fake upload. $129,000 views on Rachel's actual upload. Half. That one guy is already proof that they've stolen half of MSNBC's money and given it to Rachel. I mean, given it to Russia. Okay? The thing is, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of different channels side uploading Rachel Maddow's broadcasts. Okay? Probably 4 to 6 million people watch Rachel Maddow's content on YouTube every single night. She's getting 1/20th of the ad revenue from that. The rest of it is going almost entirely to Russian agents. Can anybody even debate that now? Somebody tell me a fucking loophole to my argument. At least that, right? I mean, really. You got 60 million people voting for Hillary Clinton. You got what, 14 to 20 million people actually watching the broadcast when she airs. Because remember, she fucking outdid Papa Bear, man. And Papa Bear gone. I thought we were approaching a point where people were watching it more on YouTube. You know? I thought we were approaching a point where more people wanted to have it on demand without having to set up a DVR, without having to be in one location to watch it. I thought the fucking market for MSNBC for any kind of news program on YouTube was much better than the chances of people tuning into their broadcast. And when you take into effect the proliferation, it's easy for me to say, the proliferation worldwide, okay, how many people in the world, in Europe, in Australia maybe, in New Zealand maybe, just different people here and there all over the fucking world, could be interested in watching Rachel Maddow. Or any American news broadcast for that matter. Just to see what are the Americans talking about. How many Russians do you think would tune into Rachel Maddow every night? So it should be advertisers in Russia paying Rachel Maddow for her content. Instead, it's advertisers in America paying Russians for Rachel Maddow's content. And that would be step 5. Weekend communications. I don't think there's ever been a better way to do it. I just want to go look at Rachel Maddow's actual.
Nauseous?
Oh, there she got another ad for her.
Feel like you might.
Put an N to it, really? N. Put an N to it, the letter N. Put an N to it. It's fucking cheesy as shit. Okay, so I'm going to go to the MSNBC channel right quick. And I'm going to scroll down to the list of Rachel Maddow. Nonsense. It's so starting from the one day ago, 129,000 views. 2 days ago, 198,000 views, 290. 3 days ago, 350,000 views. 6 days, 433,000 views. Mueller's Cohen filing points to President Trump's role. Only 433,000 people in the whole world wanted to see that. Sure. I bet you old boy made a killing. And all the other fucking ones just like him. You know, they're not all monetized, but that one's fucking, the screen name's fucking Russian and it's monetized. Nothing but copyrighted material in video games. No original content whatsoever. One week ago, 25,000 views. 1 week ago, 140,000 views. 1 week ago, 230,000 views. 1 week ago, 155,000 views. So less views further out. That's bloody likely. 1 week ago, 377, 297, 397. Oh, there we go. 655,000 views almost 2 weeks ago. Because the next one's 773,000 views 2 weeks ago. 665 is lifting Russian sanctions, key to Trump deal. So, a lot of those views were Russians. Just saying. Russians usually, by the way, don't even use a monetized platform. So we have to sit through ads and they don't. Two weeks out, 160,000 views. 2 weeks out, 49,000 views. 2 weeks out, 541. 2 weeks out, 395. I want to go and look at the most popular uploads. Where's the popular uploads? I want to see what kind of views. Top stories. No, they don't even have it. It probably doesn't look very good then. They haven't done a live stream for 4 years. I want to see how many views that live stream has on it. It's not showing the view count. There's no views. MSNBC is rigged. No views. No views. Not even showing up. The view count isn't even there. Oh. Oh, man. You see, MSNBC corporate people, this is what you get for hiring IT solutions or contracting IT solutions instead of hiring IT pros. See, if there was an old fucking IT pro that worked at every little building y'all had, like there should be, on-hand, paid-in staff guy who goes and has coffee with your other employees, they'd have fucking caught on to this shit by now. Man, you show me a good fucking computer repair guy, and I'll show you a guy who can see fucking patterns like this, right? Because when you're hunting for viruses or for spyware and the fucking, in the 90s, back in when shit didn't always get picked up or you could get rid of it, and still the same tricks do work. At least on Microsoft. you'd have to see a pattern of what the computer's doing, and you'd have to deduce from the history of what the user was doing and what they were downloading. You have to see what kind of applications they're trying to load at the same time. You got to develop a historical knowledge over time of what softwares to trust and what not to trust. You know, eventually I got to where I could recognize registry keys that didn't fucking belong there. You know, I just like, well, delete that motherfucker. It could be pointing somewhere bad. Better off without it. You know how many times I deleted a registry and the computer stopped working? 0. Right. The idea that there's government Twitter accounts. Yeah, it's not only just to steal money from them, but basically, consider this. By policing this at an ineffective rate, but by policing this at all, by eventually, after this channel has made money for a while, deleting that channel because it's, you know, violating terms of service, right? The algorithm, let me just point out, the algorithm should recognize that shit immediately. Okay, it doesn't when I fucking do. I got those notifications immediately after uploading Final Fantasy 13 content. You know, I mean, come on. Rachel Maddow, you think they can't just recognize the MSNBC logo? Rachel Maddow's face? You don't think they could recognize Rachel Maddow's face with the algorithm? All that facial recognition shit is in the Google algorithm now. Okay? And their feigned cooperation with the FBI is why they're allowed to keep it secret. Okay, let me just put it that way. But by deleting these channels eventually, and, you know, through the regular view count type suppression that they give to me, they're deleting those views forever. So 20 million people could have watched Rachel Maddow's show, okay? And 400,000 people show up on the view count on her channel. And then all of these other channels, they got 100,000, 200,000, 400,000, sometimes a million views on these fake channels. Okay, I've seen that shit too. I think 2.4 million is the best I've ever seen on a uncopyrighted fucking material from somebody else's shit. 2.4 million views. But easily you see them all the time in the hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands. You very even rarely see them without 10,000 views, right? But those channels come and go every few months. Remember, like I've been saying about the side uploaders this whole time. They come and go every few months. When they go, those views aren't reassigned to MSNBC. MSNBC gets stuck with the same views that are a result of all this theft. And what that does cumulatively is make it look like MSNBC has a less popular platform. It's basically an antithesis to the bandwagon effect, by making people feel like less people feel the same way they do. Okay? What? Alright, and on that bombshell, it's time to, I guess, watch the fish tanks for a little while. Let's see here if I can get them. Camera the right way. Which Sean? Damn it, come on, man. Fuck. Trying to zoom out. There we go. Give me 1 minute, I'll be back. trouble I've seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. I've got a goofy looking head, man. This little shark fin thing. Let's just make the most of it, shall we? Here we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. Holy fuck. I look like that guy from the fucking skit show. What is it? Buckwheat? No. Buckwheat and alfalfa? No. What's the... Ace Ventura? Ace Ventura. There we go. Ace Ventura. Inverted alfalfa. Jimmy Neutron. Oh, shit. So anyways. You know what I realize? My building designs, they're like Legos. Like the guys in the shop, basically. They're gonna be manufacturing Lego pieces, and the people on the job site are gonna be basically putting Legos together. Kind of cool. But it's also like, I think it's a metaphor that would help in a sales pitch, right? If I'm trying to get the investor to go along with it, trying to explain to him like the advantage of the concept as far as cost reduction to improve quality. Good shit, good shit. What the hell were we talking about? I got done my rounds or plops. Points. I think Mr. Conway has won the internet. Giants won't destroy them. Nobody wants to step on Lego pieces. That's fucking great. So, like, over time, this system, and that's what it is, it's a system of building, has evolved to where it's like, I've really let it go in my mind, and oh man, why couldn't that have been real? What a real part of a dream to have. I just remembered a dream. Boy, that was really random, but talking about Legos. I got to see them again. I got to see my old Legos. I got to hold them and touch them and play with them and everything. It was perfectly fucking real. And I was showing my wife. See, look, this is that spaceship I was telling you about. Oh, I didn't have my Land Rover thing though. But I had the whole space set, the flying vehicles. I was trying to explain to her like all the different little cool dorky things I used to do. I used to go and I would get the little, instead of buying the big set, I would get a bunch of the little ones and like combine them and make some kind of thing. And I would, if I ever got the big sets for Christmas, I would invariably make something much better looking than what it came as. And yeah, sometimes I would wind up with extra pieces. Sometimes I would have to use some, from the bucket sets. But yeah, man, I had a shit ton of money worth of Legos, and I got to see a whole bunch of them in my dream last night. It was like, it was almost as though it was the future, and I was telling her, remember how when I told you about these, here they are. And it was a very heaven, end of the world sort of like place. I didn't feel corporeal anymore, but I still felt physical. It's a very nice dream. That's all the only real moment I remember about it was that situation right there. And getting to fucking pick up my prized spaceship again. Anyways. Right, I'd follow the instructions just to do it. Okay, if I couldn't, well, I'd build what was on the picture just to do it. Fucking instructions. That's where the boys who don't have to follow instructions later in life actually get that ability. That's from fucking doing Legos by looking at the picture. The men who didn't have Legos, they just, they try to pull that off and then they can't. But anyways. But like, I don't know what I was just saying, but back to what I was saying before. Picture yourself as a real estate guy, right? To build a house for somebody wants to buy a new house. They call up one of your agents, all right? Now bear in mind, the guy I'm gonna go talk to, he's the boss of many real estate agents, okay? Who also used to be a stockbroker. That's why I'm trying to get the meeting with him. Now, from his perspective, the option of being able to build a house exactly to a customer's wants, flood-proof, very possibly cheaper than a normal house construction, better quality, but lower cost overall to build. And a lot of that money, by the way, just gets saved in the concrete slab, because this does not require a concrete slab. I don't like concrete slabs. Well, except for basketball courts. The only real reason for a concrete slab, and really, that can still be done with a hardwood floor. But the only reason why I've ever built a concrete slab in my life was to make a basketball court, where I used to have daily one-on-one matches with the captain of the fucking Bel Air High School basketball team, who was my stepbrother. Let me tell you, that white boy can play. If it wasn't for him, I would have never stood a chance playing basketball with the Mexicans. Because, man, the smaller and quicker you are, the easier it is for you to steal the ball from a big lanky motherfucker like me, you know? I got frustrated one time playing with the black kids against the Mexican kids. And I wound up just kicking the guy who was covering me. I just lost my shit. Just straight up fucking front kicked his ass. Right there. Oh, good times. I was like 9 years old. Maybe 10. Anyways. But man, from a developer's perspective, this lets you put together a house like Legos. You know? Like, how many bedrooms do you want? How many square foot? How big of a garage? How big of an entertainment space? How big of a living room? How big of a kitchen? And I could actually get together with a programmer and make an app that could not only like drag and drop style configure these houses for a customer, like an agent could fucking do that, you know, but it could give me the parts list of all the different Lego pieces I'll need to build to complete that order, right? And when I'm drawing here, I've showed y'all a couple of them, but I'm making a big old portfolio. Of these houses. All the different ways they can be set. And, like those buildings, for instance. The individual buildings, that's not a set shape, you know? That's just that building times 3. There's many different sizes and shapes of building. And, you know, like I said, the one thing I haven't even come close to showing on here is the interlocking structural rigidity design. And that's what makes these incredibly strong. I'd really like to see this one here built. Like, I mean, this was the first one I put in this book, but it's still kind of my favorite. I call it the Excelsior. Because it's like a fucking starship, man. It's got a 3.5 car garage, or a 3.7 car garage, because you can still fit a Honda Accord in the small space, but you could fit fucking giant pickup trucks in that bitch. It's got an 8-foot wide main corridor, so the hallway connecting the different sections of the house is 8 feet wide. It's got one fully enclosed terrarium, one semi-enclosed garden, a 3-side on glass on 3 sides, viewable from the hallway, and then the deck, the front deck, is on the other side of it. It's a 3-bedroom. The kids' bedrooms are 16 feet by 16 feet and have individual access to their shared bathroom. There are a total of 5 bathrooms. The master bedroom is 16 feet by 20 feet at its greatest expanse, and has an attached 8-foot by 16-foot balcony. The master bathroom is 16 by 16, getting at sort of angles with 8-foot and 12-foot widths. And there is a guest bedroom as well. So it's actually a 4-bedroom. The guest bedroom has its separate bathroom. And it is 16 by 12. The dining room is 16 by 20 with open space that's 8 feet wide, 12 feet wide, to the living room, which is 16 by 32. That's a pretty big living room. And then the kitchen is 20 by 20 with an island bar and a breakfast nook. Actually, a little sun nook, the corner with all the windows, and a little kitchen table in there. Walk-in pantry, 8 foot deep, 8 foot wide, with 2 4-foot corridors going either way. A corner cut out, because on the other side of that, you walk around and there's a deep freeze area across from the washer and dryer in the washer and dryer room. So pantry and then washer dryer room with the deep freeze in it. You would think you could put the pantry in the deep freezer in the pantry, but actually this way it maximizes shelf space. So. That, and you don't want the heat from the compressor on the freezer increasing the temperature inside the pantry area, because that'll increase the rate of spoilage on the other food. The central hallway in the bedroom area is a catastrophe safe room. Can be equipped easily with a bomb shelter access. Not going to get any further details on that. But, need to add water. This is a nice fucking place, man. It's got a 8-foot by 12-foot storage room near the garage. It's got a 12-foot by 16-foot gym with a stand-up shower and a bathroom near the garage and the garage unit. Got a hot tub in the garage. Why put the hot tub in the garage? Because I've fucking had hot tubs before. The hot tubs where you normally see them are for new home buyers. You want your hot tub away from the fucking mosquitoes, okay? Because they are not scared of that shit. That, and myself personally, you know, I don't want to walk from the hot tub through like bug infested grass and shit to get back inside. And you know, you want to go to the hot tub in the wintertime, you're gonna be in a hurry, you know, like. So the idea there is, this is a luxury house. You park some nice fucking cars in there, or pull them out. Open up the garage door if you want to. Open up the side door if you want to. But otherwise, this is not your average looking garage. This is a nice place to be. And the weight distribution requirements of this elevated structure are such that it happens to be the perfect place to put the hot tub anyways. So this is not only a garage that can, you know, save your cars from being flooded, but you still get to keep your hot tub, you know? You ever seen a hot tub get flooded? Chicks will no longer be impressed. Let me just put it that way. That is a hell of a cleanup job. The reason why they put those covers on there, on hot tubs, is because if that water gets dechlorinated, that acrylic is going to get inundated with algae roots. And eventually, with additional sun damage, it's just going to get brittle and crack. When it floods, the cover usually doesn't stay on there. Hell, half the time the hot towel will just go floating away anyways. What do you think, Conway? Like, just how much customer satisfaction is there in these fucking designs? You know, like I'm trying to create the next evolution in housing. You know, not by focusing on some sort of fucking 50s promo reel or Star Trek fantasy. I'm trying to solve the real world's problems, you know? I just don't want to fucking delude myself and waste my time, you know? I'm not aware of anybody else talking about I can float your fucking cars with it. Right, there you go. Another shareable one. This is shareable because anybody should be able to build this for themselves. And, well, the rigidity is not that apparent, but the efficiency of materials, the fact that it's a 24 foot by 24 foot structure, 976 square feet total. This is the minimal poor family fucking housing right here. This is fully equipped. It has a washer, dryer, and dishwasher. It's got a kitchen table to seat 3, a bar to seat 2, and a couch to seat 2, entertainment center. Three bedrooms, 1 bathroom. Perfect place for a few college kids. Or a single bachelor. Or a single mother. Or some people from one of those cultures who get along better with their family members than white people do. See how I flip that around? So yeah, I know why white people laugh at how black people and Hispanic people can group together into one fucking house and like all live there together. It's for the exact opposite reason of why I fucking didn't talk to my father for 20 years, you know? That's what I can look back and definitely see that my dad was propagandized by right-wing media. He made some really asshole, unchristian fucking choices, even to do with his own children. So like I said, I've been on the anti-greedy person crusade since I was little because my dad fucked me over. That's why I'm so cautious and so diverse about the different things I'm trying to plan right now. That because, you know, cast a wide net. So there's double meaning for you. But it really is what's underneath that makes these buildings work. Especially when you get into the bigger ones. But as far as the smaller ones go, scaling down the same system is going to cost less but still provide the same level of strength per the size of the building. So whereas, you know, a floating house would get crushed up against one of the larger structures, it would simply bounce off of this one, or this would bounce off of it. Or if it hit it, say, broadside, a large house hitting this, or a small shed based on the same construction, the house would get caught and linger if this thing was still attached in my system, in my interlocking system, and it hadn't floated past its breach point, or abandonment point. There's a breach point and then an abandonment point. But even until the abandonment point, because of its size, the smallness of it, the strength is actually going to be more effective because it's going to be putting a smaller amount of pressure on this big, broad, weak structure, and then the weak structure is just going to collapse around it. I saw similar things happen over and over again during the Japanese tsunami. And like, when it all comes down to it, that's what these things are designed for. I was both inspired by the Japanese architecture and felt like I remembered some sort of precursor to it, right? But then also saw how it had evolved into something that was purely beautiful and not strong enough to be used in coastal environments. I mean, that's an old universe to me. That's an old lesson. You come to an island in boats. You come to a shore in boats. And some people say, let us tear apart the boats so we can build houses. And some people say, no, let us just live on the boats in case we need to leave again. But I tell you what, what this reminds me of? Reminds me of Eden. These would all be basically log cabins. Now, I would hope that that thing would never have to float, but I would assume that if somebody had to float it, it would be on a lot of land. because it is 96 feet wide. So it's like a small oil barge, basically. Anyways, that's gonna be a little shark. Baby shark, doo 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 doo, baby shark, doo 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 doo, baby shark. Look, it's Flipper. Hey, look, it's a dork. Okay. Oh, man. Jeez. So one of the things that's been annoying is I actually have a distant cousin who is of the Newman clan. Yeah, the Newmans. And this really old guy. I talked to him on the phone. My aunt put me in touch with him. And he apparently is the guy who makes those pourable buildings, those like dome looking things that they have now. And I keep going back and forth because he just blew me off, man. I keep going back and forth on why he blew me off, though. Was it he thinks my designs are fucking useless? Or he thinks I'm competition? I was being a lot more standoffish about things. And maybe he was listening to right-wing something rather at the time, and me talking about Russia turned him off or something. I don't know. I just talked about it as a matter of what the fuck I've been doing, you know? 'Cause that's what I've been doing. My country was being attacked by lies, so I'm trying to fight back with truth. Because I seem to have a unique talent for it. So, like, speaking of just truth, okay? Most people who consider themselves crusaders or zealots or fighters for truth, fighters for good, consider truth to be foremost of all concepts, basically. Truth can, in some ways, be considered love in action. To be true to oneself is to appreciate God's gift of life. To be true to others is to see God in them. And to abide by God's laws according to them. See everyone as God's children. Now, as all divine concepts or initial programming of the universe follows, a conscious being was given assignment to that concept to proliferate it. To proliferate it. That word again, really? Why? Something bit me in the middle of my fucking chest, really? Ah. Damn it. Oh, it's like one of them spider bites, too. It's just like hell. Like, I can stand flea bites and ant bites and shit, but them fucking, whatever them little spiders are, they're these little tiny ones that just fall down from the fucking ceiling at random. And if they fall on you while you're asleep, apparently they go to town. Anyways. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck kind of bug it is. Could be some kind of like CIA spy bug, man. No. What the fuck was I talking about? What was I talking about? Not CIA spy bugs. Fucking. Oh, I got it right. It's like right on the tip of my tongue, too. Oh, yeah. Foundational principles. Archangels. Initial programming threads that were meant to self-proliferate. Is that the right word this time? Prolificate? Self-prolificate. No, self-proliferate. Not that they're that far fucking off, but anyways. I'm not dwelling. No OCD here. So if things like, deceit and lust and murder and chaos and time and death and different concepts had basically beings that were manifested from them, that manifested them in turn, okay? When you think about God and Goddess separating from love to become male and female, and in faith that love is the true nature of the universe, one can extrapolate not only the mystery behind the miracles, those ones that I don't seem to remember. I could tell you how I might have done some of them. But no. I remember a lot of that shit, but I don't remember that. You have a male and a female, though. I think I've made it clear, and I think anyone who has that zeal within them to be a fighter for good, to seek truth, understands that Christ, the male aspect that they've come to know, is somehow truth. He's like that being, like if Cain was murder, the pre-incarnate Christ was truth. The Son, the begotten Son of God, is truth. The begotten daughter is creation. Motherhood. That's why she is the mother of all things. You see, it was truth that gave form to creation. But creation itself was a child of God also. And it is creation that has the power of creation. Not created. Don't confuse creation, the omnipresent verb, with creation, the noun of the physical universe that you've come to know. But I've also said that it's clear to me that there's a lot of those words that were spoken by me, and I can give you context to those, but there's some of those words that just don't seem like me, don't even seem like the same person spoke them. Otherwise, people might see him as a hypocrite, and I don't think it would have gone very well for him. Certainly wouldn't have been so inspiring after the fact. But you see, male and female is how God created mankind. And God would never, man might make this mistake, but God would never let any major climactic prophetic event happen without male and female playing key roles on both sides, good and evil. You haven't found the real story of history until you found the man and the woman on both sides of history. You see, a man who goes and tempts people to throw stones at him, who turns over tables in a temple, would certainly be a hypocrite if he said, if a man strikes you, turn the cheek and let him strike another. And considering the context of the time, that may fly with people who saw Gandhi and Martin Luther King. But before those men, no such concept of protest was ever successful. What makes more sense is that a woman would say such a thing in a time where you can see from other instances of Scripture that an enemy that you face this day, a chauvinistic horde that enslaves women and children, was upon them at the time. And what a woman giving that advice would simply be meaning. Makes a lot more sense than anything you could say that would lead a man of that time, of the time when apparently everybody was carrying around swords, you know? The time before even the Christians reformed Rome. A time that the Crusaders would have considered barbaric. Okay? That time. If a woman says such a thing, if a man hits you, not if somebody, but if a man, not if you are hit, if a man hits you, specifically, if a man hits you on one cheek, turn and let him hit the other. That's very detailed, specific advice. And what it means is make sure the police can see that he was beating on you. Don't hit him back or you both go to jail. That advice is still given this day. And that inexorably clues you into exactly who spoke those words. And that there was someone else present in those stories. Because furthermore, people who read them have not understanding in that, Mr. Conway, let me ask you this. What would a young man be doing preparing a meal with his mother? What, did he just get home from fucking home ec class? See what I'm saying? Awful lot of time spent with his mother, right? Who did that back then? No one. Anybody remember calling Jesus a mama's boy? No, they didn't, because he wasn't. You've got a missing person in the story. You know who hangs out with their mothers and helps them prepare meals and shit? You know who were generally called on in that day to feed the poor? The huddled masses, that kind of thing. Women. You know who helped their mothers? Girls. Boys did not help their mothers prepare meals 2,000 years ago. Or 100 years ago. Christ is truth. John the Baptist, preparer of the way. She is creation, the mother of all that exists. What power did she exhibit? The power of creation. What power do I still exhibit? Did I exhibit? Do I always exhibit? You can trace every incarnation, a gift for truth. And like I've said this entire time, any magical ability I have. People have things quite backwards. We have an interesting relationship. Most people never really manage to consider it, I suppose. Never know what it's like to know your creator from the beginning. The kind of resentment that could eventually breed. What I might have to do to prove myself to her. But more than that, because I'm me, it has to be beyond genuine. And I think I'm doing pretty well in my own little tests. I just wish that would translate better into success with saving the world, because that's kind of the arrangement. Because nobody's ready for the full truth, right? They're waiting for their little poster boy, right? You know, the same way I can't go out at night and fail to show someone the stars move, I don't think that there could be a cloud in a sky where I couldn't just point up at it and you'd see my face. Because every time I fucking look up in the clouds, it's just like, where's the face? It's gotten cliche for me. My daughter, who does not clean her glasses, I wonder how she can, like, see anything. I managed to point one out to her this morning. Like, you see that right in the middle? It's like a mostly triangular looking cloud, and there was like a little dark spot in the middle. And in that little dark spot, there was a fucking clear, my face. And took her a second. It's like, do you see the face? Oh, I see it. Does that look like me? Like, yeah. Had her mind blown. Why does it look like you? I don't know. Oh, your bus is here. I suppose I should point out that people would very likely be mistaken as to the nature of all the different generations of my children. They don't just instantly come out good. Every Wiccan you've ever met is probably directly descended from us. These are people who are severely tested in life, and they can go extreme either way. And boy, it just goes one way after the other when they're young. Be just sweet as hell one day and just fucking rah the next. Especially the girls. Like girls, really, if you want to know why women seem to have more magical power, first of all, a soul can be incarnated either way. But to be incarnated as a female is to give yourself greater physical challenges and greater physical potential. So you wind up with the concave inverse of greater spiritual challenges and greater spiritual potential. Greater spiritual potential and judicial system. It's the judicial system. Oh, I haven't been drinking. Yeah, I love Dana Carvey. But I trust that motherfucker a lot less further than I can throw him. See, for the same reason Robin Williams is no longer with us, he made a little comeback. And that kind of pisses me off. Robin Williams, killed for being part of the liberal active measures, a part of the destruction of corporate and religious dominance and accountability. Because by getting the skeptical and the thinkers away from institutions, you strip those institutions of their internal accountability and further allow those people to be strayed from the path. Now, it's time for me to fucking go, but I'm like in the middle of the point, but I'm out of coffee and I'm fucking hungry. And what the hell are you wrapped in? Okay, why don't you just grab it? Well, now I have no hope of returning with that. Mr. Conway, are you there? Or can you help me get back on track? I knew something was about to happen. What was I just talking about? I know I interrupted myself. I know I made an interjection, but that wasn't the fucking thing. Or is anybody here that can remind me what the fuck I was talking about before the alarm clock went off in the back? And we're waiting. And we're waiting. Any one of them voice readout things. Have a little, like notepad or something. Sit here and type while. Everybody's like, what the fuck was I saying? Oh. Something about bananas in my ear. Huh. I don't even remember the general topic at this point. So, if anybody has a fucking clue, comment. Or, I gotta bounce. Can you make fresh pot of coffee, please? Oh yeah, kids, wasn't it? But anyway. So men physically have it easier. They actually spiritually have it easier. And I was trying to do a little interjection about how basically corruptions of our institutions has come from without and within. And oh yeah, Robin Williams versus finally got back to it. Wow. Robin Williams' death versus Dana Carvey's little just coming out of the fucking woodwork. Look, Dana Carvey's back. Everybody with fucking think black glasses. Robin Williams had been part of this move to a liberal utopia. Okay? That was the idea. They convinced them they were going to get. That was what the Russians were going to help them accomplish. And then when this move towards fascism came, you had this massive wave of assassinations that looked like suicides and overdoses. And then people who were willing to play ball, and effectively, all of them in unison, marginalizing the danger of Trump, normalizing his behavior, okay? They're the ones who are playing ball now. And they're the ones who are allowed to find new success. Because, well, a subdued populace needs to see some familiar faces that can reassure them that everything's okay. I'm sure he thinks in the end the Bernie babies are going to win. That's the box they've got him in to get his cooperation. Like, oh, don't worry, it's just Trump. Yeah. They're just getting started. There's no telling how long the cord winds. But however long it winds, the only solution remains, that the way out is through. Anyways, thanks for watching, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and get to moving. Hope y'all enjoyed the broadcast. I hope you enjoyed my crappy little drawings of Russian nested dolls. And if you're just joining, please go back and review the first part of the video for the full presentation on the basically 9-step process of subduing a nation through bullshit. Because we're like at step 8, you know, so people might want to catch on at some point. So, y'all take it easy, don't take it all. Peace.